Abusing your wife is a thrill for a moment, but the chase to win her back is a trip to the crematorium. The lofty president, Bo, mistakenly thought his sweet young wife had killed the love of his life. In a fit of rage, he sent her to prison. Annie was dead. Tang Shi sat upright on the edge of the bed, looking at the divorce papers Bo Yi had thrown at her, feeling a cold shiver run through her entire body. An hour ago, he had grabbed her by the neck and asked her, "Did you push Annie down the stairs?" An hour later, he called a lawyer to draft a divorce agreement and threw the contract right in her face. "Tang Shi, you will owe her a life for the rest of yours." Tang Shi looked at Bo Yi with red-rimmed eyes, her whole body trembling uncontrollably. "I didn't push her. How many times do I have to say it?" But he didn't listen. He just looked at her coldly, as if she were a joke. "Do you think explaining is useful now? It's useless. It's too late." Bo Yi believed she did it, so she did it. No matter what she explained, it couldn't compare to someone who was already dead. Tang Shi suddenly laughed. She stood up, grabbed a pen, and began to sign the contract. "A divorce, is it? Fine, Bo Yi. I, Tang Shi, have loved you for 10 years. Let's just say these 10 years were a joke. From now on, we'll go our separate ways." Bo Yi looked at her, his sneer deepening. "You don't think just signing a divorce agreement is the end of it, do you? I want her Tang family to be buried with Annie. You can't." Tang Shi's eyes turned red as she looked at Bo Yi. "Isn't me alone enough? My parents treated you like their own son. Our Tang family has never done anything to wrong you. Annie's death is the greatest wrong your Tang family has ever done to me." Bo Yi viciously pinched Tang Shi's chin, smiling like a demon crawling out of hell. "Forcing me to marry you with your schemes wasn't enough? Now, you even had to take her life? Tang Shi, I'm truly not as ruthless as you." Like a bucket of cold water poured over her head, Tang Shi trembled all over. "I in your eyes. Is that what I am? In my eyes?" Bo Yi seemed to have heard a joke. His hate-filled gaze swept across Tang Shi's face. "Are you even worthy of being in my eyes? Tang Shi, don't you think too highly of yourself? From today on, you will pay the price for Annie's death." Tang Shi's heart grew colder and colder. In a voice filled with extreme pain, she murmured, "Bo Yi, if one day you find out you've wronged me." A sudden pang of bitterness struck Bo Yi's heart. But very quickly, the man returned to his heartless demeanor, his eyes filled with a clear hatred. "Wronged you? Tang Shi, in this life, it is you who has wronged me." Soon, she was imprisoned on suspicion of murder, and the witness was Bo Yi. Tang Shi lifted her head and looked at him blankly. Her entire world was slowly being destroyed in her eyes. "Bo Yi, the biggest mistake I ever made was falling in love with you. You should have been happy to have avenged Annie." But when this moment truly arrived, Bo Yi staggered back 2 steps. A gust of wind howled past behind him, and cold raindrops fell on his shoulders. When this moment truly arrived, why did his heart feel like a piece was missing? Hearing her murmur those words felt as agonizing as being pricked by needles. When she was 15, Tang Shi had joked with Bo Yi that she wanted to marry him when she grew up. At 20, her wish finally came true. But that year, Annie entered their lives, and only then did she realize that Bo Yi had always had someone else in his heart, and she was just a cover. Annie was the one in his heart. Then what was she? She was nothing. She finally understood how some people can't be won back. She had walked this lonely road for 5 years only to realize that smashing your head against a wall until it bleeds is truly such a painful thing. Bo Yi, I could have ignored the time, disregarded my pride, and continued to wait for you. But you treated me like this. 5 years of unrequited love in a lonely city, in exchange for 5 years in a prison cage. A shattered, broken, rotten life. How can you ever repay me? How? Tang Shi woke up from the nightmare, clutching her chest and taking deep breaths. She had dreamed of the past again. It was like a nightmare she couldn't escape. "Mommy, did you have a nightmare again?" The moment she woke up, Tang Wei obediently went to warm a glass of milk. Then he handed it to her. "Oh, you want me to tell you a story? Uncle told me a lot of them." Uncle referred to Tang Shi's biological brother. Back then, when Tang Shi gave birth in prison, it was her brother who risked everything to get him out. He rescued Tang Wei from the prison. He was so smart and sensible that it made her feel guilty and heartbroken. Tang Shi rubbed Tang Wei's face. "It's all Mommy's fault for not having time to be with you. Uncle is so good. Tomorrow is the weekend. How about we go to the amusement park with Uncle? What do you think? Really? That's great. Tang Wei was thrilled at the mention of the amusement park. Tang Shi held him in her arms, closed her eyes, and took a deep breath. Oh no, oh no. The cold, stoic president accidentally discovers that his gentle and obedient ex-wife secretly gave birth to a little boy. His face was simply a miniature version of Bo Ye's. But Bo Ye's eyes were too sharp, while his were incredibly gentle. Tang Shi and her son were having tea when they happened to hear a radio broadcast about Bo Yi. According to inside sources, the young master of the Bo family, Bo Yi, will come to Lan City at the end of this month to cooperate with the Yi Group. Both companies went public 5 years ago and now have strong capital and immense financial power. Before it finished, Tang Wei turned it off. Tang Shi was stunned. You don't like it? I don't. Tang Wei didn't even have to think. That Bo Yi is my father, right? What do you do when your child is too smart? Would a beating make him dumber? Wait, never mind. Tang Shi gave a dry laugh. How did you know? Tang Wei pointed to himself. Mommy, I saw his face in a TV report. Now, look at my face. Tang Shi glanced at Tang W.E. I.T. Oh, prevent Bo Yi from tricking you into going back to him one day. I've decided to take you abroad this year. But Tang Wei said, it's useless. The young master of the Bo family has a wide network of business and connections. He'll find us even if we're abroad. Tang Shi continued to laugh heartily that you're so smart. After a moment, Tang Wei said softly, Mommy, you don't have to worry. I won't go with him. Tang Shi was stunned. Why are you suddenly saying this? Tang Wei looked at Tang Shi very seriously that I only want to be with Mommy. I don't want anyone else, not even my father. Tang Wei's face was simply a miniature version of Bo Ye's. But Bo Ye's gaze was too fierce, while Tang Wei's was incredibly gentle. At such a young age, he understood too many things that only adults should. That's what made people's hearts ache for him so much. 20 minutes later, the three of them gathered at the entrance of the amusement park. Tang Yi went to buy tickets, leaving Tang Shi and Tang Wei standing there. At that moment, a black Maybach drove past behind them. Bo Ye's gaze paused. He suddenly ordered the driver, stop for a moment. He looked closely, feeling that the figure from behind was getting more and more familiar. It was only when he saw her face that he realized it was his ex-wife, and next to her was a little boy. At this time, his friend beside him added fuel to the fire. Isn't that your ex-wife? The kid in her arms looks exactly like you. I wouldn't believe it if you said he wasn't your son. Bo Ye's expression turned sinister and terrifying. Tang Shi, you actually had the guts to secretly give birth to my child. After Tang, he dropped his sister and little nephew home. He had to go back to his studio. Tang Shi suddenly said, Brother, don't work too hard. Tang Yi joked, raising you is quite tiring. I haven't even found a wife yet. Tang Shi shut the door on her brother. Behind her, Tang Wei laughed from the sofa. Uncle is an old bachelor. Tang Shi laughed too. Did you have fun today? Tang Wei nodded, yes. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Tang Wei ran over on his short legs. Did Uncle forget something? The moment he opened the door and saw the face on the other side, Tang Wei's expression changed instantly. Bo Yi hadn't expected him to be the one to open the door. He had imagined many ways they might meet again after 5 years. Perhaps Tang Shi would be cold and indifferent. Perhaps her eyes would be full of unfamiliarity. Or perhaps she would still hate him. But he never imagined his son would be the one to open the door. The moment Tang Wei saw Bo Ye's face, his heart tensed. The next second, he instinctively tried to slam the door shut. But Bo Yi blocked it. Tang Shi's heart instantly went cold. Why was Bo Yi here? How did he find out about her and Tang Wei? Was he here to take the child away? Bo Yi quickly walked in from outside and met Tang Shi's gaze. Long time no see. President Bo, my mommy and I have always been living peacefully. We haven't broken any laws. What can we do for you? Please tell us immediately. After you're done, please leave. Tang Wei called him President Bo, just like everyone else. He held his mother's hand and said, Mommy, don't be afraid. Let's go to sleep. The mother and son turned around together, intending to completely ignore Bo Yi's stop. An angry voice came from behind. About this child, don't you plan on giving me an explanation? Explain what? Tang Shi looked at Bo Yi, her voice trembling that I've already served 5 years in prison. Why won't you let me go? Is a woman with a criminal record like me still worthy of you gracing my home? You don't need to guess my intentions. Bo Yi went up and grabbed Tang Shi's hand, suddenly asking a very foolish question. When did you give birth to the child? Do you even need to ask? In prison, of course. Tang Shi laughed until tears came out. How could someone like me ever get your attention? How could you possibly care if I was pregnant? In your eyes, there's probably only Annie. Bo Yi was furious. Don't you dare mention her name. Even a lofty President Bo felt a sharp pain in his heart. He noticed the crisscrossing scars on his gentle and obedient ex-wife's hands. How did it become like this? Who abused her in prison? Who destroyed her pride? Tang Shi let out a scream, suddenly becoming emotional. "Let go of me." As if remembering something, Bo Yi reached out to grab her hand. Her sleeve was pulled up, revealing the crisscrossing scars on her wrist. They pierced his eyes. Bo Yi finally couldn't hold back his shock, his pupils constricting violently. What happened? Tang Shi laughed as wildly as she had 5 years ago, like a madwoman, her eyes reflecting Bo Ye's shocked expression. "Isn't this the gift you gave me yourself? Bo Yi, I've had enough of the suffering you've given me in this life. I'm begging you, please be merciful and let me go." Bo Yi staggered back a few steps. In those shattered eyes, there was no longer love, only hatred. The kind of hatred, already carved into her bones, was burning like self-immolation in her eyes. He had wanted to put her in prison to make her regret it for the rest of her life. But why did it turn out like this? Who abused her in prison? Who destroyed her pride? Bo Yi just stared at Tang Shi. Suddenly, an intense sense of fear crept into his heart. He was afraid that he could no longer understand the woman before him. They had been married for 5 years. But why was she such a stranger to him? Bo Yi fled from Tang Shi's home as if escaping. As he slammed the door shut, he stood outside, hunched over, clutching his collar, unable to breathe, feeling like he was suffocating. Why had Tang Shi become like this? What had happened to her during those 5 years? This was clearly what he had wanted to see. But why, through the door, did Tang Shi's body slide to the floor? She leaned against Tang Wei, crying silently. After a long time, she let out a suppressed roar, as if trying to tear through her own soul. All the turmoil stirring beneath the calm surface, at this moment, swept over her with even greater force. Those dark, sunless days seemed to be clamoring to drag her back in. Tang Shi's whole body trembled. Tang Wei, whom she was leaning on, kept his back ramrod straight. The next day, Tang Yi called, saying he couldn't find Tang Wei at the kindergarten. The principal said she saw someone pick him up. According to the principal's description, that person was definitely Bo Yi. There was no mistake. Tang Shi's slightly red eyes held a clear hatred. She reached out and clutched the clothes on her chest, her fingers trembling constantly. "It's okay. Don't be afraid. Bo Yi, you've stolen my last shred of faith. I'll fight you with everything I have." Tang Wei was picked up by Bo Yi at 3 o'clock. Afterwards, he was taken directly to the Bo family mansion. Bo Ye's mother, Zheng Huiqiu, was stunned the moment she saw him. "Whose child are you? Who are your parents? Who my mother isn't important to you." Tang Wei smiled. The 5-year-old's mind was devilishly sharp, and who my father is, naturally, isn't important to me either. Bo Ye's brow furrowed. "What do you mean by that?" Tang Wei said, "Exactly what it sounds like." Zheng Huiqiu could tell this child held a lot of resentment, especially towards the Bo family. She didn't dare to go forward and hug him. "Is your mother doing well?" Tang Wei smiled sweetly. "Grandma, we all eat the nation's food, so my mom is living without a worry in the world." The moment Bo Yi heard this, he flared up. He grabbed Tang Wei and lifted him up. "Who taught you to speak with such a sharp tongue? Did Tang Shi teach you to say that?" "Yes." Tang Wei was fearless. "Who taught me? Everyone around me told me so. They said my mom was in prison. If you think about it, you said it to my mom's face yesterday too." A sharp pain stabbed Bo Ye's heart. He put him down harshly, gritting his teeth. "Did you learn some tricks from your mother to come and make me unhappy? If you don't like me making you unhappy, then send me back." Tang Wei looked at him. "You want to use me to threaten my mom? But doing so will only make us hate you more." "Hate you more." He finally said it. Admit it. They did hate him. And this hatred had seeped into their flesh and blood, becoming a habit. Bo Yi, for some unknown reason, flew into a rage, smashing many things. Zheng Huiqiu pleaded sorrowfully from behind. "Year, stop smashing things." Bo Yi gave a cold laugh and went upstairs. "Did I scare you? What's your name?" Zheng Huiqiu had a good impression of this little child and wanted to ask his name. Tang Wei looked at her. "My name is Tang Wei. The Wei, with the heart radical. My mommy said this character represents only and hope." Zheng Huiqiu didn't dare to ask about Tang Shi's current situation. But since Tang Wei had brought it up, she continued to ask cautiously, "Your mother?" "You don't need to worry about my mother's affairs, madam. Look at him. A 5-year-old child, so devilishly sharp. Even when using honorifics, he was so distant. It seemed it would be difficult to get close to him in the future." Tang Shi composed herself herself and went to Bo Ye's company. The receptionist was stunned by her aura. "Excuse me, who are you looking for?" "Bo Yi." Just like that, she directly called out the name of the man they called the young master of the Bo family. The receptionist was stunned. "But miss, you need an appointment to see President Bo." Hearing this conversation, people behind them started whispering that she's actually here to see young Master Bo. She'll quiet down. Look at the way she walks with such an imposing air. She must have connections. Exactly. Maybe she's young Master Bo's secret lover. Young Master Bo's secret lover? Isn't Miss Annie the one young Master Bo loves the most? The moment the name Miss Annie was mentioned, it was like a sharp blade cutting through her heart. Tang Shi's face turned even paler, but her smile became even more startling. "Announce my name. Bo, you will arrange to see me directly." At that moment, Jiang Xia walked over. "Hey, what are you doing here? Are you here to see Old Yi? I'll take you up." Tang Shi walked into the elevator and thanked Jiang Xia. "Thank you. No need to thank me." Jiang Xia smiled and waved his hand. "I'm also here to see him for something. But you go first. Besides, the Tang family has shares here anyway. It's not out of line for you to enter your own company. You've certainly investigated my past thoroughly." Tang Shi's voice was laced with sarcasm. It was unclear if she was mocking Jiang Xia or herself. What a pity. In the end, it's not mine. The cool, sexy, and delicate ex-wife, in order to get her dear little son back, actually agreed to any of President Bo's demands unconditionally. Jiang Xie glanced at Tang Shi and said to her, 5 years ago, when you went to prison, was it really Bo Yi who sent you in?" Tang Shi didn't speak, just smiled faintly. But that smile was too painful, like a person in an abyss, unable to see a single shred of hope. Jiang Xie didn't press further. The elevator reached the 20th floor and opened automatically. Bo Yi was waiting in his office. When Jiang Xie saw him push the door open with someone else behind him, he started to tease, "You even bring an entourage to business meetings now." But when he saw the person behind Jiang Xie, his face changed instantly. "Why are you here?" Tang Shi gritted her teeth and said to Bo Yi, "I'm here to get my son back." "He's my son too." "No, he's my son alone." Tang Shi's voice suddenly rose. "I'm surprised you want to acknowledge this child." "Mr. Bo, are you all right? Didn't you used to hate me to death?" When Bo Yi heard this, his heart clenched violently. "Dapi, O Yi. During my time in prison, I thought it through. Whether I was innocent or not is not important at all. What's important is that you never gave me a single shred of trust." Tang Shi's lips curved into a deeply mocking smile. "Don't tell me you've now discovered some lingering feelings between us." A crack appeared in Bo Ye's furious eyes. He smiled with extreme cruelty. "Who taught you to speak like this?" Tang Shi's surroundings turned icy, her face covered in a layer of frost. "Bo Yi, you taught me this yourself. You killed all the love I had for you. What else do you expect to get from me?" Bo Yi looked at her in disbelief, his voice pained. "What did you say?" "I have nothing left to give you. The Tang family has already been devoured by you completely." Her words turned into sharp blades that cut through Tang Shi's heart. "Be, O Yi, I'm begging you. Please let me go. Give me back my son." Bo Ye's throat felt sore. When he saw the expression on Tang Shi's face, his heart grew restless. "You want your son? Fine. Go to Maidu tonight and have a drink with a client of mine." Tang Shi looked up in disbelief, her eyes wide, staring at him fiercely. "Be, O Yi, you want me to entertain clients with drinks?" Bo Yi sneered at her. "What? Don't you want your child back? You can't even do this little thing." Tang Shi staggered back a few steps, shaking her head and murmuring, "I'm truly not as ruthless as you." After saying that, she suddenly laughed again, even though tears were still hanging at the corners of her eyes. Tang Shi smiled at Bo Yi. "Since President Bo has said so, how could I possibly disagree? It's just one drinking session. If I can get my son back, I would do it without hesitation. Just don't you dare regret it." She straightened her back, though her shoulders were still trembling, and slammed the door as she walked out. Bo Yi sat slumped in his office chair, feeling extremely agitated. She actually agreed. When Bo Yi got home, he found Tang Wei standing at the door, as if waiting for someone. Bo Yi frowned. When he saw Tang Wei's small face, so similar to his own, his fierce expression finally softened a little. "From today on, I will raise you. When I have time, I'll take you to change your name to mine." Hearing this, Tang Wei looked up and said faintly to Bo Yi, "President Bo, have you gone through the legal procedures? To raise me, you must fight a lawsuit with my mom." Hearing him say this, Bo Yi laughed. "You were my son to begin with. Do you want me to take you for a DNA test? What procedures do I need to raise my own son?" Tang Wei said softly, "President Bo, I was born after you two divorced, so my custody naturally falls to mommy." Boist pupils constricted. He repeated in disbelief, "What did you say? How could a 5-year-old child be so sharp-witted?" Tang Wei just looked at Bo Yi, seemingly unfazed by his shock. President Bo, if I weren't your son, but just my mommy's child with someone else, would you treat me like this? Bo Yi's heart tightened, and a groundless irritation swept through him. Tang Shi would always revolve around him. She could only ever bear his child. Any other man who dared to touch her was courting death. President Bo, you will never understand what kind of life we lived for 5 years. So it's impossible for me to be close to you. Tang Wei looked up at Bo Yi. In that instant, Bo Yi felt as if 10,000 arrows were piercing his heart. The cold and ruthless president, Bo, personally pushed his ex-wife into the arms of an old man, only to question her the next second why she didn't resist when the old man harassed her. At 8 o'clock that night, Tang Shi got ready and went to the location Bo Yi had given her, the entrance of Maidu. Bo Yi drove to the Maida parking lot. After parking his car and walking up, he saw this scene. A drunk man was staggering over. Hey, beautiful, all alone? Want to have some fun together? Tang Shi was utterly disgusted. I have an appointment. Why not have an appointment with me first? The man said as he reached out his hand. Bo Yi became anxious. He immediately stepped forward and grabbed the man's wrist, his icy eyes radiating coldness. Scram. The man was instantly terrified and fled. Bo Yi stood beside her and said faintly, how long have you been waiting? Not long. About 10 minutes. Tang Shi gave a slight smile, so elegant that one couldn't find any fault. But it was precisely this appearance that made Bo Yi feel she was a stranger. In the past, she was always gentle and generous, her eyes filled with endless affection. Now, those eyes were like a decaying black hole. Back then, her pride had its wings broken and fell into it, swallowed up and turned into nothingness. Bo Yi's heart trembled, but he suppressed his voice and said, let's go up. Follow me. Soon, they arrived at the door of the private room. Tang Shi finally stopped. Bo Yi smiled at her. Oh, what's wrong? Not going in. Tang Shi gritted her teeth and pushed open the door to the private room. The moment she entered, the smell of alcohol mixed with smoke hit her. Then she heard someone on the sofa shout, this girl is a stunner. Who brought her in? Bo Yi smiled from behind her. What do you think, Fuzhen? Ah, Fuzhen. He wrapped his arm around Tang Shi and sat her down. Old Yi, you brought her, right? You're a lifesaver. How did you know I like this type? Miss, do you want to play a game? Bo Yi watched from the side, his fingers unconsciously tightening around his wine glass. Beside him, Jiang Xia whispered, Old Yi, should I go talk to Fuzhen? No need. Bo Yi's voice was as cold as water, seemingly without any ripples, but she's just a woman. Why should he care so much? Tang Shi smiled at Fuzhen. Are you the one who's here to talk business with Bo Yi? Fuzhen's handsome face drooped. Miss, when we're out having fun, let's not talk about business. So this was the guy. Tang Shi picked up a glass of wine. Since Bo Yi's purpose in bringing her here was to entertain a client, then she just needed to entertain Fuzhen well. So she smiled at everyone that I'm late, so I'll punish myself with a drink first. Don't pick on me later if we play any games. Fuzhen laughed when he saw this. Why are you so cute? Tang Shi snuggled into his arms and smiled at him, her red lips glistening from the alcohol. Really? I think young Master Fu is very cute too. Bo Yi watched Tang Shi smiling so beautifully at another man, and suddenly an unknown fire ignited within him. He had asked her to come and drink to humiliate her. He didn't expect to be the one to get angry first. Jiang Xia watched cautiously from the side. Old Yi, are you okay? Bo Yi gritted his teeth, his gaze sharp and fierce, nailed to Tang Shi, but his mouth said, it doesn't matter. Let her be. That's right, as long as she could help him handle Fuzhen. What was wrong with entertaining with drinks? Even if she got together with Fuzhen. Halfway through this chaotic thought, another round of cheers erupted. The lady said it. Fuzhen, quick, give her a kiss. The murderous aura rising from Bo Yi was enough to scare someone to death. He quickly shouted over, what are you guys playing? As soon as he said that, everyone in the room froze. Bo Yi's dark eyes looked towards Tang Shi, seeing her slightly parted red lips, sexy and alluring. She had her arms around Fuzhen's neck, leaning in his embrace, looking just like a siren. Rage erupted from the bottom of his heart without any restraint. Bo Yi didn't even stop to think about what was wrong with him. In that second, his mind was filled with all sorts of crazy thoughts. Take Tang Shi home. Lock Tang Shi up. Never let another man touch her for the rest of her life. She was his property. Anyone who touched her deserved to die. Fuzhen buried his face in her hair and took a deep breath. Miss, you still haven't told me your name. Name? Tang Shi's whole body stiffened. She suddenly froze, not knowing how to react. What's wrong? Fu Zhen saw her face turn pale and teased. It's not some terrifying person, is it? Miss, don't scare me. Tang Shi quickly composed her smile, stood up unsteadily, and said, I'm a little dizzy. I'm going to the restroom. I'll tell you when I get back. Fu Zhen whistled. I'll be waiting for you, miss. Tang Shi walked into the restroom, steadied herself by the sink, cupped her face with her hands, and took a deep, hard breath. Fu Zhen asked for her name. How could she do it? My name is Tang Shi. There was only one Tang Shi. The young lady of the Tang family from 5 years ago, now reduced to entertaining men with drinks and smiles. How ridiculous. All the aloofness and strength she had pretended to have would become a joke. When Bo Yi approached her, Tang Shi didn't even react. The next second, she was pulled directly into the last stall of the women's restroom. When Tang Shi looked up, the man's face wore its usual mocking smile. He looked down at her. What's wrong? Why don't you tell him who you are? He's angry. He's angry. The cold, stoic president directly hoisted his delicate ex-wife over his shoulder. What came next was a sharp insult. Why didn't you dodge? If I hadn't called a stop, were you really going to let Fu Zhen? Tang Shi smiled, her face deathly pale. President Bo, this is the women's restroom. Bo Yi viciously wiped her red lips with his hand. The lipstick bloomed like a red plum on his fingertip. He asked in a cold voice, why didn't you dodge? If I hadn't called a stop, were you really going to kiss Fu Zhen? Bo Yi wouldn't let her lower her head, viciously lifting her chin. Tang Shi, it's been 5 years. You've really gotten worse. Tang Shi laughed, a ridiculous laugh. She laughed until tears streamed down her face. Well, why do you have to accuse me like this? Bo Yi, weren't you the one who brought me here? You asked me to entertain with drinks, and look, I did. Bo Yi reached out and grabbed her by the neck. Then did I ask you to get involved with him? Then go ahead. In your eyes, I'm just a toy anyway, right? Tang Shi smiled at him, her eyes red. You don't care, so why should I? You call me here to drink. Didn't you think I would be harassed? Didn't you want to see me humiliated? Bo Yi pinned her against the wall, closing in on her. He stared at her with those dark, intense eyes. After a long moment, a fervent kiss landed on her lips. Tang Shi struggled violently. At that moment, someone entered from the doorway. Bo Yi let out a low laugh. Go on, scream. Let everyone outside see you like this. Tang Shi stared at Bo Yi viciously, her eyes turning red. Why are you doing this to me? Why do you treat me like a toy? You come to me when you want me, and insult me as you please when you don't. Bo Yi, wasn't hurting me so badly 5 years ago enough? I've already paid such a tragic price. Why can't I escape from your grasp? Bo Yi didn't speak, but his pupils constricted. Seeing Tang Shi in such pain, the man seemed to sense her sorrow. Tang Shi pushed him away, her shoulders trembling. Then she covered her face and walked out of the restroom. Bo Yi felt he must be crazy. He must be drunk. Why? After Tang Shi returned 5 years later, did he have feelings for her again? When Tang Shi went back, Fu Zhen seemed to have been waiting for her in the private room for a long time. Seeing her come over, he smiled and pulled her into his embrace, his movements as practiced as if they were old lovers. When the late-arriving Bo Yi saw this scene, he narrowed his eyes without a change in expression. What was wrong with him? The moment he saw his property being touched by another man, he couldn't control his irritation. Fu Zhen leaned in and asked for Tang Shi's name, laughing softly in her ear. Your relationship with old Yi seems unusual. Tang Shi trembled all over. How'd he see through it? But she didn't admit it. Almost instantly, she put on a smile. How is that possible? Why would young Master Fu think so? Fu Zhen held her and said, because I saw you walk out, and old Yi went out too. Tang Shi didn't say much, just lowered her eyes. After a long while, she said, does young Master Fu really want to know who I am? My name is Tang Shi, the same young lady of the Tang family from the news 5 years ago, who was identified as the murderer, Bo Ye's ex-wife. Even Fu Zhen's hand holding her began to tremble. Are you kidding me? What's there to joke about? Tang Shi suddenly became cold. She moved away from him and poured herself a glass of wine, smiling dazzlingly that I've served 5 years in prison, you know? Young Master Fu, if you don't believe me, you can check online and you'll know. Why would old Yi ask you to come and entertain with drinks? If it was true, then Tang Shi was Bo Ye's ex-wife. Why would Bo Yi ask his own ex-wife to do this kind of thing? Tang Shi smiled at him, then winked at Fu Zhen. Since we're already divorced, you don't have to treat me as Bo Ye's anything. That's right. She had never been Bo Ye's anything. Not 5 years ago and not now. There was never a place for her in Bo Ye's heart. But halfway through their conversation, Bo Yi suddenly walked over. To everyone's astonishment, he directly hoisted Tang Shi onto his shoulder. Tang Shi was so startled by his sudden action that she trembled all over. Then she pounded on his back. What are you doing? Put me down. Bo Yi sneered. Put you down? To continue watching you flirt with other men. Fu Zhan sat on the sofa, watching Bo Yi carry Tang Shi away like that, and said teasingly, "Big brother, let's talk this out." "Young Master Fu, my apologies. She's mine tonight. I'll make another appointment with you." He's panicking. The cold, stoic president is panicking. All because his sweet, delicate ex-wife has developed severe depression. And it was all his doing. Fu Zhan held his wine glass and howled, "Old Yi, you're not human. You brought me a girl, but now you're keeping her for yourself." Tang Shi's face flushed with shame. This action, under everyone's gaze, was undoubtedly humiliating her. She forced the tremor out of her voice. "Oh Yi, let me go. And if I refuse?" Bo Yi ignored everyone's spectating gazes and carried Tang Shi straight out. Tang Shi's head was spinning. "Let me go, you bastard. Scum." "Well said. Your language skills are quite good. An Ivy League graduate, your vocabulary is indeed rich. You're the one who asked me to entertain with drinks. And now you're going back on your word." Tang Shi shouted, "If you have the guts, let someone else take me away. I served 5 years in prison for you. What more do you want from me?" When she shouted this, everyone's expression changed. Tang Shi's words, "serve 5 years in prison," were like needles piercing everyone's ears. Everyone stopped what they were doing to look at them. In that instant, everyone finally remembered who she was. The talented and beautiful young lady of the Tang family, Tang Shi. The murderer who was arrested 5 years ago, Tang Shi. Tang Shi suddenly let out a low laugh to herself. Then tears began to fall, continuously blurring her vision. She didn't want to cry, but she couldn't stop. Fate was just that cruel. Just when you think you've completely escaped, it deals you a heavy blow and then tells you, you can never escape this shadow. In the end, Tang Shi struggled too hard and accidentally hit the wall. She quickly fainted. Bo Yi's hand trembled violently. "Ambulance! Call an ambulance, quick!" In the quiet hospital room, Tang Shi opened her eyes. Her vision was a field of gray light. Then it gradually returned to normal. Bo Yi looked at Tang Shi, sensing that she didn't want to talk to him. He just cleared his throat and said, "You're awake." Tang Shi gave him a cold look and said nothing. "What?" Giving me the silent treatment. His devilishly handsome face held a chilling smile, "that I'm the one who saved you today." Hearing his words, Tang Shi felt as if she had heard a joke. "Then I really have to thank you. 5 years ago, you ruined my life. 5 years later, you still want to insult me. I must have committed a terrible sin in my past life to be completely destroyed by you in this one." Bo Yi was furious when he heard Tang Shi's words. "What else do you have to argue for yourself? Annie's death. What if Annie's death had nothing to do with me?" Tang Shi laughed maniacally, as if there was nothing left in this world for her to care about. "Bo Yi, let me ask you one thing. If Annie's death had nothing to do with me, the debt you owe me, can you ever repay it in this lifetime?" Bo Yi's pupils constricted violently. He looked at Tang Shi in disbelief. "What did you say?" Tang Shi's voice suddenly dropped, as if her earlier counterattack had used up all her strength. "Bo Yi, I don't hate you anymore. Because I feel you're so pitiful, it doesn't matter whether I hate you or not." Bo Yi's heart trembled at Tang Shi's words. But at the time Annie was pushed, he was there. How could he have been mistaken? It was Tang Shi who did it. Stop pretending to be innocent here. If you're going to say it, you should have said it 5 years ago. Did you give me a chance to speak? Tang Shi finally laughed through her tears. "That's right. You never believed anything I said. I was your wife for 5 years, and you never spared me a single glance. Bo Yi, if you didn't love me, why did you marry me? Are you doing right by me? Are you doing right by Annie? I married you only because you climbed into my bed." Bo Yi finally couldn't contain his anger and shouted, "You were the one who climbed in my bed back then, so that's how you've always seen me. Have you really forgotten everything?" Tang Shi laughed, her whole body trembling, her voice breaking. "There's a saying that's so true. Deep love is useless, and unrequited love is scorned. Bo Yi, just consider everything I ever did for you a joke. If I could do it all over again, I would definitely choose not to meet you." After Tang Shi said this, she pointed to the door of the hospital room and shouted at Bo Yi, "Get out." Tang Shi burst into laughter. A nurse outside heard the noise and rushed in. Seeing Tang Shi like this, she went up and held her down forcefully. Someone even shouted for a sedative. A sedative. His whole body was trembling. On his handsome face was a deep pain that came from the depths of his soul, so painful that his eyebrows were tightly furrowed. "Tang Shi, what's wrong with you?" He suddenly thought of the mottled, crisscrossing scars on Tang Shi's right hand. How desperate must a person be to harm their own precious right hand? She was a designer. Her hands were more important to her than anyone. What had she been through to be unable to bear the pressure and harm herself? Why had she become like this? What had she encountered in prison? The next day, when Bo Yi came to the hospital, someone handed him some report documents. President Bo, your wife's condition is not very good. She has severe depression. She must have experienced a huge trauma in the past. Did something happen between you and your wife before? Looking at the report in his hand, Bo Ye's fingers felt a sharp pain from the thin paper, and oh, nothing. The heartache is real. The heartache is real. The cold, stoic president's chest ached dully. How can a 5-year-old child have such a transparent mind? So mature, it's heartbreaking. Well, the attending doctor took off his glasses to wipe them. This illness can't be cured by medication alone. And from the treatment records, she herself is not cooperating with the treatment. President Bo, this may take some time. Do you know what your wife likes the most? The doctor's last sentence made Bo Yi himself freeze. What did Tang Shi like the most? He had no way of knowing. Bo Yi felt he couldn't continue the conversation with the doctor, so he said a few words and left. As he was leaving, the doctor's words still echoed in his mind. I suggest you go and find out. Your wife's situation is really not good. Did you know? The scars on her hand are a mix of old and new wounds. The most recent one was from 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. So recent. The scars on her arm. How many times had she been hurt? She actually had a habit of self-harm. Bowie didn't dare to think about it anymore. He paced back and forth outside Tang Shi's hospital room, for the first time having the thought of escaping. He actually didn't dare to face a woman. That woman was his ex-wife, the murderer Tang Shi, whom he had personally sent to prison 5 years ago. She had killed Annie, yet now she was living such a life. Bowie felt he should be happy, but seeing her, he couldn't feel happy at all. He felt more like he was the executioner who had brought her to this state. Bowie took out his phone and made a call. It's me. Go and investigate for me what happened during the 5 years Tang Shi was in prison. I suspect someone was using my name to abuse her. In the afternoon, he brought Tang Wei to the hospital to see his mother. President Bo, is Mommy sick again? Bowie suppressed the anger in his heart. Call me Dad. Tang Wei struggled in his arms. Let me down. I want to find Mommy. Bowie's sharp gaze stared straight at his son. Call me Dad, or I won't let you down to see Mommy. Duh, Dad. Tang Wei stammered out the title, still not used to it. His face turned red. Please don't force me to call you that. You'll get used to it if you say it more. Bowie felt his mood instantly improve. Hearing this brat call him Dad, the tightness in his chest finally eased a lot. I am your father. What's wrong with you calling me Dad? Tang Wei said, but for the 5 years since I was born, you never cared about me. Bowie took a deep breath. Your mother hid you too well. I only recently found out about your existence. What about when my mommy was pregnant? Tang Wei quickly retorted, don't tell me you didn't even know my mommy was pregnant. Bowie's hands trembled slightly. A 5-year-old's question had actually left him unable to answer. If he had known Tang Shi was pregnant, maybe he wouldn't have locked her up back then. Bowie directly changed the subject. Your mommy isn't in a good state. I hope you can comfort her. Mommy's depression is indeed very serious. Tang Wei seemed to side out she's fine usually, but it gets like this whenever she encounters anything related to you. Bowie's heart was suddenly pierced with a sharp pain. To Tang Shi, he had become a terrifying monster. She was so afraid of coming into contact with anything related to him. Mommy, he called out tentatively. He saw Tang Shi turn her face toward him. Her pale face was filled with a sickly look, but the moment she saw Tang Wei, a startlingly bright light appeared in her eyes. Wei. Tang Shi's eyes reddened. How did you get here? Tang Wei's voice was also a little choked up. Mommy, are you unhappy again? Tang Shi gave a faint smile. Sorry, did Mommy scare you again? No, Mommy. It won't happen next time. Wei, it's good that you're back. Tang Wei looked up at the fragile Tang Shi, then looked up again to see Bo Yi standing outside the door. Mommy, actually, he was the one who brought me here today. I know you hate him, but he's indeed my daddy. His voice was very childish, yet it carried an unquestionable firmness. Although I don't like him, I still feel that having a daddy feels very dependable. But Mommy, if you don't want to go back to Daddy's side, I won't interfere. Your choice is my choice. Tang Shi's tears fell once more. Wei, Mommy's not scared anymore. Let's go back and live a good life with Uncle, okay? After coaxing Tang Shi to sleep, Tang Wei came out of the hospital room. Like a little adult, he glanced at Bo Yi. The latter was looking at him with some anxiety. How is she? She's okay, Daddy. If my mommy gets better, I have one condition. You have to send us to be reunited. Bo Yi's brows furrowed at once. Send you back to that so-called home? You still want to wander around outside? Tang Wei's eyes clearly darkened. Daddy, if it weren't for me, would you care if my mommy lived or died? A single sentence hit Bo Ye's sore spot again, leaving him stunned on the spot. For a moment, he couldn't come up with a reply. You see, you two don't love each other. Even if you lived together, it would be a misfortune. Tang Wei took a deep breath, then looked at Bo Ye.So. It's good for me to live with my mommy. You can come see me anytime. I can communicate this with my mom. Bo Yi looked at Tang Wei's face and suddenly felt a dull pain in his chest. A 5-year-old child, how could he have such a perceptive mind? His maturity was heartbreaking. But this son, Tang Wei, Bo Yi could not possibly let go. How could his own son be allowed to suffer outside? The Bo family's offspring must be raised by the Bo family themselves. The cold-faced, iceberg CEO felt fear for the first time. He was so afraid of losing his fair-skinned and beautiful ex-wife and his smart and witty dear son. Tang Shi recuperated in the hospital. Bo Yi would bring Tang Wei over every day after kindergarten to see her. She quickly emerged from her gloom. Although when she saw Bo Yi, her eyes still held clear hatred. When Tang Shi was discharged, he reminded his sister to take her medicine on time. You can't just take a pill whenever you feel unwell. This isn't a cold where one pill works instantly. Tang Shi acted cute with her brother. Look, I'm fine now, aren't I? I'm usually fine too. What if you run into Bo Yi again? Tang Yi's blunt question startled Tang Shi. Encountering Bo Yi, she would panic, become flustered, and be at a complete loss. This man had hurt her too deeply. She had long since fallen into that shadow, incurably ill. Tang Shi took a deep breath. Some medicines can't cure me. I can only rely on myself. I don't want to live in Bo Yi's shadow anymore. I need a new life, a new beginning. Even if I'm sick, I will try my best to overcome the fear. Tang Yi gripped her hand tightly. Big brother will always support and protect you. Not far away, inside a black Maybach, Fu Muzhong watched Bo Yi's stalker-like, almost perverted actions. He chuckled. Are you stalking your ex-wife? Do you know how to talk? Bo Yi cursed with a laugh. Keep talking nonsense, and I'll throw you out of the car. Fu Muzhong said meaningfully, you've been very interested in her lately. Finally have some ideas about your ex-wife. Bo Yi was so annoyed he laughed. Stop minding so much. Help me with something today. After third young master Fu arrived, Tang Shi tidied up her blueprints and came over. She poured him a cup of coffee. The studio is simple. Please have a seat. Fu Muzhong sat down and handed Tang Shi a business card. Miss Tang, our company is launching a new line of wedding dresses for early spring next year. We sincerely hope to collaborate with you. Tang Shi subconsciously recoiled her fingers that I'm sorry. I don't want to design wedding dresses. I no longer have any expectations for things like love, so I can't design wedding dresses. Please leave. Fu Muzhong's expression was one of shock. His lips parted. I understand. However, Miss Tang, I hope you can still consider it carefully. Even if you've been hurt in the past, you should let the wound see some sunlight. Your talent is forever your own. It can't be destroyed by others. I believe in you. Tang Shi's whole body trembled. She looked up at Fu Muzhong in disbelief. The man's expression was calm. After speaking, he stood up and gave her a slight nod. Then I'll be leaving now. If you change your mind, you can call anytime. Our company's design team sincerely awaits you to join us. And thank you for the coffee. It was delicious. When Fu Muzhong got into Bo Yi's car, Bo Yi turned his head to ask him, how did it go? Fu Muzhong shook his head. She didn't agree. I guessed as much, Bo Yi muttered to himself. Fu Muzhong finally asked the question, why don't you go help her yourself? Why go through me? Bo Yi's fingers tightened on the steering wheel. If I go, she would probably rather die than accept my collaboration. That's true. Fu Muzhong laughed recklessly. Compared to you, she'd welcome me more. Bo Yi angrily slammed the horn. Are you looking to die? Hey, you're burning the bridge after crossing it. I'm helping your ex-wife make money through a collaboration, and now you want me dead? Fu Muzhong tissed sked and shook his head. Then he asked again, but speaking of which, since you care about her so much, why did you send her to prison 5 years ago? That's right, she was the woman he hated most. Why was he going to such great lengths to help her? Bo Yi's eyes stared fixedly ahead. After a long while, he finally said, because she killed in me and the child. But look, she was obviously pregnant at the time too. You didn't know. Fu Muzhong noticed the car speeding up. He knew he had hit a sore spot. Bo Yi ground his teeth that I must have been too merciful to you. I'm gonna go tell your old man that you're out here fooling around. Damn, Fu Muzhong finally yelled. Bo Yi, you're too shameless. Is this how you treat a brother? Who considers you a brother? Get the hell out of my car right now. Bo Yi drove Fu Muzhong home and then returned by himself. Just then, someone called him. He saw it was an unknown number. While still wondering who it could be, he answered it anyway. A crisp voice on the other end said, "Daddy, it's me." Upon hearing this voice, Bo Yi's own tone softened. "Wei Wei, do you need something?" Tang Wei spoke like a little adult on the other end. "Daddy, did you go looking for Mommy today?" Bo Yi asked as he walked back into the room. "Why do you say that?" "Mommy told me someone recognized her as DOM and wanted to hire her for a job." Tang Wei sighed maturely on the other end. "Daddy, I know you sent someone, right?" Bo Yi thought to himself that having such an incredibly smart son was like winning the lottery, and didn't he inherit from him? Without thinking, Bo Yi casually agreed. "Yes, I want to help your mommy." "Why do you want to help now?" Tang Wei's voice seemed to travel through the phone and whisper in his ear. "Daddy, if you feel sorry for what happened over the past 5 years, then Mommy and I will accept your good intentions. But if it's just pity, we don't need it." Bo Yi's heart. Bo Yi gripped the phone and asked, "Did your mother teach you this?" In a place where Bo Yi couldn't see, Tang Wei shook his head and said, "This is my own idea. My mommy doesn't know I called you." Bo Yi held back his feelings and took a deep breath. "Wei Wei, I want to help you. Why won't you accept it? I just want you to have better living conditions." "I don't need better living conditions." Tang Wei lowered his eyelids. "If you really have no feelings for my mommy, then please don't disturb us anymore. Thank you for your kind intentions." After saying this, the child hung up the phone. Bo Yi stared blankly at the phone screen. For a moment, he couldn't snap out of it. He had a feeling, an illusion that he was losing his grip on Tang Shi more and more. The cold-faced, iceberg CEO, faced with the pale face of his proud ex-wife. A strange feeling crossed his heart. Ever since she returned, this feeling had become more and more frequent. It was a feeling of his defenses being breached. Tang Shi sat alone in her studio, dazed. "Tang," he came over and stroked the top of her head. "What are you thinking about?" Tang Shi looked up at her brother and said softly, "I'm thinking about whether we should accept that collaboration from third young Master Fu." Tang Yi's movement paused. "If you don't want to, you don't have to force yourself." Tang Shi shook her head. "I think third young Master Fu was right. Some scars really should see the sunlight." "Bo Yi, the bloody mess you gave me. Perhaps it stopped hurting a long time ago." Tang Shi then called Fu Muzhong. After arranging a time and place to discuss the details, Tang Shi turned and walked into the entrance of the bar. Someone saw her enter and came forward to ask respectfully, "Excuse me, are you Miss Tang?" Tang Shi was a little surprised. Why was someone specially prepared for her the moment she walked in? She saw them lead her down a separate path. Tang Shi quickly said a word of thanks and pushed the door open. But the moment she saw the person sitting inside, she froze. "Why is it you? I asked third young Master Fu to find you." Bo Yi said faintly, "Let's sit down and talk about it." "No need. I have nothing to say to you." Tang Shi wiped the look of astonishment from her face and turned to leave with a cold expression. Behind her came Bo Yi's cold laugh. "Tang Shi, are you this afraid of me now? Are you still that genius designer from back then?" Tang Shi's steps stopped abruptly. He was insulting her dignity, forcing her to stay. Gritting her teeth fiercely, she turned to face Bo Yi, her reddened eyes filled with clear hatred. She walked back in and sat down opposite him. "What on earth do you want?" Bo Yi's heart was pierced with a sharp pain. "Let's make a deal. I'll introduce you to business and pave the way for your studio. In return, I will raise Tang Wei. You can see him freely, but from now on, his life will be our Bo family's responsibility." Without a second thought, Tang Shi refused directly. "There's no need. My brother, and I can still afford to raise him." "Is that so?" Bo Yi's eyes narrowed into a smile, his expression looking extremely ruthless, without a trace of old affection. "With one phone call, I can make it so you and your brother can't even beg for food. Do you have to go head-to-head with me? You're using our son to threaten me?" Tang Shi was so angered by him her heart flared. "He's your son too. You're using him to threaten me. Bo Yi, do you have any conscience at all?" Bo Yi let out a faint TSK, his expression one of utter disdain. "Tang Shi, you think too highly of yourself. I never thought of threatening you. I just want my son back. So I'm using this peaceful method. If I were to forcibly take him, are you sure you could stop me?" Tang Shi looked at him in disbelief, her whole body trembling. "Why is it that you can just take whatever you want, while I can only endure your plundering?" Seeing Tang Shi's reddened eyes, Bo Yi's body trembled. A strange feeling crossed his heart. Ever since Tang Shi returned, this feeling had become more and more frequent. The man narrowed his eyes. This was not good. For him, it was a feeling of his defenses being breached. Bo Yi let out a cold laugh and continued to harden his heart. That you're trying to reason with me? Tang Shi, don't you find that ridiculous? The Bo family's offspring has never been something you can make decisions about. Tang Shi laughed miserably. That's right. But I raised him for 5 years. You haven't contributed anything at all. Hearing this, Bo Yi suddenly laughed. Oh, that's what this is about. He curled his lips with a composed expression. How about 5 million? Consider it payment for raising Tang Wei. If you wanted money, you should have just said so. Tang Shi, what's with the holier-than-thou act in front of me? His tone was full of contempt for her, as if he saw her as that kind of woman. A woman who would sell her son to support herself. Tang Shi didn't speak, just stared straight at him with those eyes. Since you're so eager to compensate me, I'll just take it as you having a guilty conscience. Transfer the 5 million to my account tomorrow. Why refuse money that's offered to you? But 5 million is a bit too little. I thought a man like young Master Bo would spend a fortune for his son. I was prepared to receive a few hundred million, but it's only 5 million. She tissed and shook her head, seeing Bo Ye's face change color as expected. He also stood up. Tang Shi, a woman like you. A woman like me? A woman like me? Tang Shi narrowed her eyes and gave a cold laugh, her heart stinging. Bo Yi, since in your eyes I'm this kind of woman, then I'll grant your wish. From today on, between us, there's only old hatred, no old affection. The cool and beautiful wife. The first time she saw the arrogant and popular campus heartthrob, she fell completely for him. The young man had a handsome, devilishly charming face and a pair of eyes that, when he smiled, would sparkle like diamonds. Tang Shi had another nightmare in the middle of the night and woke up with a start. Tang Wei thoughtfully brought her medicine. Although the child couldn't read the obscure characters on the medicine bottle, he understood that this was the good medicine that could make his mommy better. Tang Shi took the pill from his hand with a tremble. After swallowing the medicine with warm water, Tang Shi stroked Tang Wei's head. The little guy seemed very happy that his mom could rely on him so much, so he snuggled up to her. Mommy, don't be scared. Uncle and I are both here. Tang Shi's hand on his head trembled, and her eyes reddened. Wei, Mommy won't leave either. Tang Wei looked up. The boy had a pair of clear eyes. Tang Shi was suddenly reminded of her first meeting with Bo Yi back then. The arrogant and popular campus heartthrob, wearing an ill-fitting school uniform, loose and sloppy, yet playfully unrestrained. When he saw her, he let out a whistle. That was her first meeting with Bo Yi. The young man had a handsome, devilishly charming face and a pair of eyes that, when he smiled, would sparkle like diamonds. At that time, his eyes didn't hold so many deep thoughts, none of that cunning or defensiveness. They were like a clear, transparent pool of water, carrying the flamboyance and sharpness that only youth possesses. Tang Wei asked softly, Mommy, did something happen between you and Daddy again? Her lips parted. She decided to tell the truth. Your daddy wants to take you back to his home to live. Tang Wei didn't seem surprised by this answer. He smiled at Tang Shi, his eyes curving. I bet Mommy refused, right? Tang Shi forced a smile, trying to act relaxed. In truth, she couldn't smile at all, but that's right. Your daddy gave us a huge sum of money. Mommy, don't be sad. Getting money is a good thing. Tang Wei was still trying to find ways to comfort her. With money, we could go traveling with Uncle. Tang Shi quickly agreed, not telling Tang Wei her true thoughts. Bo Yi probably wouldn't let this go. Next, he would most likely make a harsh move in the market. This 5 million was just the beginning of his insults. She hugged Tang Wei tightly, not knowing if she was comforting him or herself. Wei, Mommy won't hand you over to anyone. The next day, Tang Shi woke up at dawn. She had to go to the studio. Who knew that as soon as she walked in, Tang Yi's brows were tightly furrowed. Sure, this is bad. All of our studio's business has been suddenly cut off. Tang Shi's heart jolted. What happened? Tang Yi said word by word, with all his strength. It's simple. We've offended someone. Tang Shi understood instantly. It was Bo Yi. He was using his power to tell them that all these years, Bo Yi had been letting them off easy. If he wanted to force Tang Shi to her death, it would take no effort at all. He was using this method to force her to send Tang Wei to his side. But she didn't want to yield, and she especially didn't want to send her son into the hands of that scumbag. It's okay. Let's look again. Maybe someone will lend us a helping hand. Tang Yi walked to Tang Shi's side to encourage her. Tang Shi, you're DOM. How could you possibly be blacklisted by the design world? Someone will definitely appreciate you. Tang Yi looked at her ramrod straight back and sighed deeply in his heart. His sister was too strong, always acting like she had to hold up the sky even if it was falling. This day, Bowie was sitting in the CEO's office. Lin Si was submitting a compiled report. He spoke to him respectfully. According to our information, 3 companies have already canceled their collaborations with Miss Tang. Bowie sat there, seemingly unmoved, yet he asked as if casually, what was Tang Shi's reaction? She had no reaction. Lin Si was silent for a long time before finally speaking. We observed that after the contracts were terminated, Miss Tang and her brother didn't seem to have any intention of seeking an explanation for themselves. Terminating the contracts was a breach by the other party, but they didn't seem to want to fight for their own interests. Tang Shi's inaction clearly infuriated Bo Yi. His eyes widened in disbelief. He repeated the question, how is that possible? Business snatched away, collaborations terminated. For any other studio, this would be a devastating blow, like being blacklisted. But why are they so calm? As Bo Yi thought this, the expression on his face grew even colder. He said slowly to Lin Si, she likes to go head-to-head with me. Then let her have her wish. I like to see how long she can last. The cool and proud little wife. In order to fight for custody of her son with the scheming CEO Bo, she actually took the initiative to file a lawsuit. Tang Shi learned that all her design works had been taken down from the internet 2 days later. Tang Yi was trembling with anger that I'm going to go reason with him. With Bo Yi, this is no longer just targeting them. He wants to leave them with no way to survive. You carried his son for 10 months, were insulted by him, and sent to prison. How can he do this to you? Tang Shi's lips were also trembling that we definitely still have hope. We can't give up resisting. We can't hand Tang Wei over to him. At this very moment, Tang Wei was standing at the office door, fighting a war of 300 rounds with the secretary outside. I said, I want to go in and see my daddy. The female secretary had a disdainful look on her face that I've seen plenty of women who falsely claim to be with CEO Bo. Now, even a child falsely claiming to be his has shown up. Little brat, who taught you this? Is your mother trying to trap CEO Bo? My mommy couldn't care less about some CEO Bo. Tang Wei was a little angry. His face was flushed red, but I really am Bo Ye's son. The female secretary directly pushed him out that I don't hit children, but a spoiled brat like you deserves a beating. Who did you call a spoiled brat? An icy voice came from behind, making the female secretary jolt in shock. When she turned her head, she saw Bo Yi standing there, his face radiating an icy chill. Special Assistant Lin Si stood to the side, also looking at her with a cold gaze. Cold sweat beaded on the female secretary's face. CO, this child is lying, saying he's your son. He is my son. So what? Bo Yi sneered. IT seems my secretary has gotten quite capable, daring to call my son a bastard. Next you'll be stepping on my head, won't you? CEO Bo, I wouldn't dare. The female secretary was so scared she began to tremble, her face deathly pale. I didn't know at first. CEO Bo, you are a magnanimous man. Don't make me say it a second time. Go collect your salary now. Bo Yi let out a cold laugh. Then, without looking at the secretary again, he stepped forward and brought in Tang Wei, who had been shut outside the door. Then he squatted down in front of him, a complete change from his previous sharp attitude. He smiled at him that I hear you were looking for me. Tang Wei looked up at him directly, getting straight to the point. Was it your order to push my mommy into such a state? Bo Yi's expression froze on his face. Are you here to condemn me? Not to condemn, Tang Wei said in a low voice. Just to get justice for my mommy. Justice? Bo Yi laughed sarcastically. There is no justice in this world. Power and status are everything. I don't really agree with your methods. Tang Wei was a little agitated. The little boy's eyes were already red. My mommy and uncle are trying very hard to live. Why must you persecute them like this? If it's just for me, then please stop this boring behavior. Did Tang Shi teach you to say that? Bo Yi asked with a cold smile. Did she specifically ask you to come find me? In Bo Ye's heart, it seemed he had already decided that Tang Shi taught the child to do this. Does such a woman really have the right to be a qualified mother? Tang Wei stared at Bo Yi for a long time. Suddenly, he smiled. That smile seemed to hold a deep understanding. A 5-year-old child was actually capable of such a smile. After a long while, he said, Young Master Bo, don't you want me? I'll go back to the Bo family with you. Just don't suppress my mommy anymore. Bo Yi's heart jolted. Tang Wei had reverted to that distant form of address, no longer calling him daddy, but just the 2 short words, Young Master Bo. He asked faintly, are you sure? Tang Wei looked up at him, his jet black pupils like a universe. Brilliant, yet lonely, yes. From today on, Bo Yi scared, then go tell your mommy. Otherwise, she'll think I kidnapped you. Soon, the call was made. Bo Ye's icy voice came through the phone, like the Grim Reaper, whispering a cold and ruthless fact in her ear. I'm taking Tang Wei. From today on, he is the young son of our Bo family. When Tang Shi heard this sentence, she roared in fury. Bo Yi, who gave you permission to take him away? Bo Yi handed the phone to Tang Wei. The little boy obediently called out, Mommy, you can come and see me. It'll be like we're never separated. You've decided to go to the Bo family to enjoy a life of luxury, haven't you? Tang Wei's eyes reddened, and oh, Mommy, I just don't want to see anyone bully you. Tang sure understood Tang Wei's thoughts and shed tears for her child's choice, that it's Mommy's fault. Mommy isn't capable enough. That's why you have to do this. Mommy, don't be sad. On the other end, Tang Wei was also choking back sobs. You can come see me at the Bo residence. Young Master Bo didn't forbid entry. I understand. Once you get to the Bo residence, Mommy will come find you right away. She couldn't bear the separation and could only accept the situation. Tang Shi yelled at Bo Yi, hey, are you dead set on fighting me for our son? Bo Yi cleared his throat twice. He is a child of the Bo family. After all, there's nothing wrong with me bringing him back. If you want, you can live at the Bo residence with Tang Wei. Tang Shi's eyes reddened, her voice desolate. Let's go to court. Go to court. Bo Yi sounded like he had heard a joke. Jiangxi's the best lawyer in all of City Ye. And you're telling me you want to go to court? Tang Shi, aren't you being a little too naive? Then I'll see you in court. Tang Shi held back her tears and laughed fiercely. Bo Yi, when it comes to our son, I won't back down one step, even if I die. The little CEO actually mocked his own daddy's new girlfriend to her face. Young Master Bo, your taste has declined, as Tang Shi was rejected by law firms time and time again. She came to realize that some endings were perhaps destined from the very beginning. If her opponent was Bo Yi, she was destined to lose. Fu Muzhong was driving past a shopping mall when he happened to see Tang Shi sitting by the side of the road. He raised his eyebrows in surprise, found a place to park, and got out. He walked step by step to Tang Shi's side. It wasn't until a shadow was cast over her that Tang Shi reacted. Seeing it was Fu Muzhong, she consciously put some distance between them, standing firmly a short way off. Then she said faintly, Third young Master Fu. So afraid of me? Fu Muzhong chuckled. Hey, last time I was really just trying to help you and Bo Yi. You had a hard time those 5 years, didn't you? Fu Muzhong tried to start a conversation, but Tang Shi's face was blank, clearly not wanting to hear him say more. The man could only apologize. All right. My apologies for last time. I lied to you. I said our company was looking for you for a collaboration, but I was actually helping Bo Yi find you. Seeing you here looking so downcast, did something happen? I'm looking for a lawyer to sue Bo Yi. Tang Shi gritted her teeth. He unilaterally took our child back to the Bo family. But he's my child too. Fu Muzhong hadn't expected something like this to happen between Bo Yi and Tang Shi. He fell silent, thinking for a while that that's very difficult. To be honest, in this city, including the entire city, winning a lawsuit against Bo Yi is as hard as climbing to the sky. Try to think on the bright side. The Bo family's conditions are better. The child won't suffer with Bo Yi. You're still young. Don't waste your life on Bo Yi. You can have a new beginning. Tang Shi's eyes finally reddened. Omi, having my child by my side is the best thing. Without my child, what's the point of a new beginning? Fu Muzhong looked at Tang Shi with a deep gaze. I'm not saying you have to abandon your child. Tang Shi, you can go to the Bo residence to see him. You can play with him. But you have to escape from the shackles the child has placed on you. Do you understand what I mean? A look of astonishment appeared on Tang Shi's face. Fu Muzhong watched the change in her expression and suddenly smiled. This was the proud eldest miss of the Tang family from back then. The 5 words, eldest miss of the Tang family, were like needles piercing Tang Shi's heart. A subtle pain seemed to spread from deep within her body. With red eyes, she looked at Fu Muzhong's face. After a long while, she said with difficulty, thank you. Every time we meet, you try to find a way to comfort me. Let's have a meal together today. My treat. Fu Muzhong readily agreed. Can I pick an expensive place? Tang Shi blinked. You gave me 5 million. Treating you to a meal is nothing. You figure things out so quickly, huh? Enjoying life. Fu Muzhong smiled and casually pointed to a buffet-style Japanese restaurant in the mall. Fu Muzhong flipped through the menu and chuckled that I really like Japanese food. Tang Shi, while mixing wasabi and soy sauce, also laughed softly that I like it too. I remember 5 years ago, my record was eating 22 servings of sweet shrimp. Fu Muzhong's hand, which was flipping the page, paused. His eyes widened at 22 servings. Tang Shi smiled, even more happily. 0.6 pieces per serving. Good food really does have the power to heal the heart. Fu Muzhong watched Tang Shi eat, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. He casually started a topic, asking, "Who were you with last time you set that record?" Tang Shi's movements froze. After a long while, she said faintly, with Bo Yi, when the everyday memories from 5 years ago flooded her mind. She once had so many sweet memories with that man. But in the end, she discovered it was just her own unrequited love all along. And at that moment, Bo Yi was also eating at a high-end Japanese restaurant on the top floor of this very mall. Sitting opposite him was a woman with a gentle smile. "That I don't like sweet shrimp, Brother Bo." Bo Ye's tone was cold, that if you don't want to eat, then leave. Su Fei pouted, "I asked it that much trouble to come out with me once? If my grandpa hadn't asked you, you wouldn't have come out, would you?" Bo Ye's movements paused. He looked up at her. "In fact, if your grandpa hadn't asked me, I wouldn't even have paid you any mind." Su Fei's eyes reddened, and she said with a sense of grievance, "How can you treat me like this? I like you so much. Can't you give me some response?" Bo Ye's mind inexplicably conjured the image of Tang Shi from 5 years ago, proud and precious in public. But at home, she was gentle and patient with him. Her eyes always held a look of anticipation, anticipating a response from him. Thinking of this, Bo Ye's fingers tightened. "Miss Su, what kind of response do you want? Be with me, okay?" Su Fei said directly, "Our Su family can help you. There's no downside for you." Bo Yi sneered. "You think I need to rely on a woman?" "No." Su Fei was a little flustered. "I heard Tang Shi got out of prison. I'm afraid she'll come and pester you again, so I can be your shield. Be with me, okay?" Bo Yi curled his lips into a smile. "That I refuse." "What?" Hearing her confession rejected, Su Fei's rich girl temper flared up. "Do you think I'm not good enough? How can a woman like Tang Shi from 5 years ago compare to the me of today?" "Su Fei, don't push your luck. What right do you have to comment on Tang Shi?" After saying this, CEO Bo turned and left directly, but Su Fei shamelessly followed him. Bo Yi sat in the driver's seat and glanced at the clinging Su Fei behind him. "Signed, I'm not taking you home. So give up the idea of using this for publicity." Su Fei gritted her teeth. "Then I'll just follow you. I'll take a taxi back when we get to your place." As the car started and drove off, Su Fei muttered from inside the car, "That person looks a lot like Tang Shi." Bo Yi slammed on the brakes. He turned his head and asked her, "What did you say?" Su Fei shook her head again, though we probably wouldn't run into her here. How could it be such a coincidence? The lawyer said, "Just now I saw a woman on the side of the road who looked a lot like Tang Shi, standing with third young Master Fu." Tang Shi and Fu Muzhong. Bo Ye's heart sank, but he didn't say anything. He continued driving back. When he got home, just as he had said, he couldn't even be bothered to take Su Fei home. He went straight inside. Bo Yi was at the end of his patience. Just as he was about to turn around and kick her out, Su Fei cried out, pointing to the small figure on the sofa. "Is this your child? He looks just like you." Tang Wei jumped off the sofa and asked, "Who are you?" "I'm your daddy's new girlfriend." "Don't talk nonsense in front of child." Tang Wei looked at Su Fei obediently and said to Bo Yi, "Young Master Bo, your taste has declined." He's panicking. The cold-faced iceberg CEO is completely losing his cool. All because his proud ex-wife's heart was broken. "Fine. As you wish. I'll disappear from your sight." Bo Yi looked helpless, but he's really not. "Okay, then I'll reluctantly believe you." Tang Wei smiled sweetly, then turned to Su Fei and said, "Ma'am, what are you doing blocking our doorway?" "Trespassing." Su Fei was rendered speechless by Tang Wei's words. After a long moment, she said, "Your daddy invited me in." Bo Yi crossed his arms. Tang Wei also struck a pose, looking at him. The father and son stood together, the word bullshit written all over their faces, big and small. "Keep talking. I'm watching you talk nonsense." Even if Su Fei was stubborn, she couldn't keep face any longer. With red eyes, she yelled at Bo Yi, "I won't give up. You'll regret this sooner or later." After speaking, she turned, covered her face, and left Bo Ye's villa. Tang Wei stood inside, looking curious. If this were my mommy, she definitely wouldn't be so uneducated. Hearing Tang Wei say this, Bo Yi couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. 5 years ago, Tang Shi was the #1 socialite in this city. Talented, stunning, and brilliant. Naturally, she was proud and incredibly precious. How could she possibly do something like throwing herself at someone? Tang Wei said softly to Bo Yi, "Young Master Bo, do you still have feelings for mommy now?" The child's tone was like an interrogation. Bo Yi frowned and didn't answer. Tang Wei fell silent, staring at Bo Yi's exquisite side profile. The little boy suppressed all his thoughts in the bottom of his heart. Although young Master Bo was perfect on the outside, whether it was family background, financial power, or connections, he was top tier. But was a man who had no feelings for mommy really worth mommy throwing herself into the fire for again? He didn't think so. 3 days later, Tang Shi came to the door, her eyes red. It was obvious she hadn't had a good 3 days. Bo, you happened to be at home helping Tang Wei with his homework. When Tang Shi reached the door, she called out. The child dropped his crayons and rushed into her arms, his face full of joy. Mommy, have you been well? I'm doing very well here. Mommy, don't worry. Tang Shi nodded, her heart aching. Mommy is doing well too. Wei, don't worry. Mommy will bring you home soon. Bo Yi, however, saw this scene of mother-son affection and let out a cold laugh. In no need for pointless struggles, Tang Shi. No matter how much time I give you, you won't find a lawyer who dares to take me to court. These cold and heartless words made Tang Shi's eyes redden again. Bo Yi, how can you be so cruel? What do you want from me? 5 years in prison, the bad reputation, I've shouldered the blame. Why are you still pestering me now that I'm out? Pestering you? Bo Yi retorted that you're the one who came to my door. How did it become me pestering you? Tang Shi, you really shouldn't have appeared in my sight, but you appeared with our son, which makes me have to doubt your intentions. Tang Shi screamed at the top of her lungs. Tang Wei is my son, and he's your son too. No one would doubt their own son. Aren't you afraid of hurting Wei by talking like this? Bo Yi's body stiffened. He reacted and looked at the little boy in Tang Shi's arms. The moment Tang Wei looked up, his eyes were filled with disappointment. He asked softly, do you think my mommy is using me to get your attention? Tang Wei's question left Bo Yi speechless. He just stared at him with that deep gaze. After a long while, he slowly said, Tang Wei, there are some things between adults that you simply don't understand. That's right, I don't understand. Tang Wei comforted the trembling Tang Shi. He walked forward and met Bo Yi's gaze, that eye in your eyes. What kind of person is my mommy exactly? Young Master Bo, if she wanted to get your attention, my mommy could have used me to make a deal with you when she gave birth to me 5 years ago. But she took me and hid from you for so long. Don't you understand yet? Understand what? Understand that Tang Shi, deep down in her heart, hated him so much that she wished she could be as far away from him as possible. Bo Yi didn't want to admit this fact, so he could only twist and misinterpret Tang Shi's intentions. The hatred in Tang Shi's eyes seemed to have reached its peak, carrying a towering wave of life and death struggle. But her words were, paradoxically, extremely nonchalant. Fine, as you wish. How about I disappear from your sight? He's flustered. The iceberg, cold-faced CEO, is flustered. All because the sweet little woman has completely disappeared from his world. Tang Wei watched Tang Shi leave, his eyes red. His lips trembled for a long time before he softly called out, Mommy. Tang Shi's body trembled, but she didn't turn back. Her resolute posture against the light split open Bo Yi's vision. At that moment, he felt a sharp pain bloom in his chest. Wasn't this the result he wanted? He had now gotten his son as he wished and also gotten rid of her pestering. Isn't this good? Tang Shi did exactly as Bo Yi said. For a whole week after that, she didn't come to see him once. She and her studio vanished without a trace. Bo Yi went to the studio entrance several times, but it was always closed. He sent people to contact Tang Shi, but they couldn't find her. Until a week later, when Tang Shi came to the hospital because of a cold. An examination showed her fever was already 39.8 degrees Celsius. Tang Shi held her dizzy head. Doctor, why do you look so familiar? Before she could finish her sentence, she fainted directly. After some time, she opened her eyes and found Bo Yi sitting beside her. Tang Shi sat up in a panic. Why are you here? Bo Yi answered truthfully. Jiangxi's younger brother told me. Only then did Tang Shi remember. No wonder that doctor looked a bit familiar. It turned out to be Jiangxi's younger brother. Back when she was still the eldest miss of the Tang family, she had met him once at some party. She never thought they would meet again in this way. Bo Yi laughed mockingly. Tang Shi, I've discovered you're quite a failure as a person. Running a fever this high, and you don't even have a single person to accompany you to the doctor. Tang Shi forcefully cut him off. That MY business doesn't need young Master Bo's concern. If you're not busy right now, You can go. Bo Yi gritted his teeth. Tang Shi, don't be ungrateful. Tang Shi shrugged nonchalantly that a cold won't kill me. Aren't you a very busy man? There's no other relationship between us. If you came to see me make a fool of myself, you've seen it, so you can leave. Bo Yi's heart clenched, but he didn't show it, holding back his anger. I just came to see how pitiful you are living alone. There's nothing about you worth me staying for long. After saying that, he slammed the door and left. Tang Shi sneered, her heart aching. When he hurt her before, he never considered her feelings at all. Now he's running around caring for her. How ridiculous. He's angry. The cold-faced iceberg CEO, seeing a new suitor appear by his little wife's side, he felt inexplicably displeased. After 2 hours, the 4-drip was finished. She got off the hospital bed to handle the discharge procedures. Her head was still dizzy. The moment she was about to fall, she was caught by a blonde man. Are you all right? Tang Shi politely apologized. I'm fine, thank you. After speaking, she turned and left. The blonde man muttered to himself behind her, Hey, you haven't even told me your name yet. A servant from the Bo family came to Tang Shi's side. He bowed his head to her respectfully. Miss Tang, young Master Bo requests your presence. The young master is also there. Tang Shi was stunned for a moment. It's been so long. Mommy, the little boy's trembling voice reached her ears. Tang Shi's eyes also reddened. Have you missed Mommy these past few days? Very, very much. Really? Tang Wei shook his head like a little adult. Without me around, you don't take good care of yourself. Tang Shi was amused by Tang Wei's tone, but a moment later, her nose tingled with the urge to cry. She murmured, That's right. Mommy can't even sleep well when you're not here. Then I'll try hard to come back. He looked at Tang Shi with a pair of clear eyes, and a light in them made her heart tremble. Mommy, don't give up hope. I've been thinking of you all the time. You have to work hard too, so you can bring me back one day. Tang Shi's eyes reddened again. Okay, Mommy promises you. Aren't they treating you well? Tang Wei asked deliberately. They're treating me great. All 3 meals are super fancy. So, Mommy, don't worry about me. You have to eat fancy meals too. Tang Shi nodded. Mommy promises you she'll eat well. Suddenly, a male voice came from behind. Whoa, is this your son? Tang Wei's face grew wary. What do you want? You were just staring at my mommy's back. You little brat. The devilishly handsome man reached out and pinched Tang Wei's cheek. I was looking because your mommy has a nice back. At this, Tang Wei got even more agitated. Don't you dare do anything to my mommy, you pervert. Tang Wei was so scared he trembled all over. Tang Shi chuckled. Stop joking. Just then, Bo Yi walked over. Tang Shi, what are you all doing? I'm his dad. The blonde man frowned. You're married? He's my ex-husband, Tang Shi said coldly, deciding not to hold back. The blonde man let out a sarcastic oh. So it's the ex-husband. Thanks for letting me know his name. See you around. A few days later, she felt her life was a complete failure. Her work had made no progress, and her son hadn't come back. Just then, a call came in that I'm Su Feifei. Come to the coffee shop. I have a business deal to introduce to you. 3 question marks popped into Tang Shi's mind. What trick was this rich young lady playing now? But no matter what trick she was playing, business was business. An hour later, after sneezing in the cold wind, Su Feifei saw Tang Shi walking towards her. In the cold wind, the woman wore a shawl, revealing 2 long, slender legs and a pair of black leather boots. Su Feifei snorted 0.5 years, and this woman is still so arrogant. Her cold elegance is stunning. Tang Shi spoke up. Why are you giving me business? Su Feifei sneered. I've just come to understand things now. A man like Bo Yi isn't worth our devotion. That's all. So you need to find an ally to lean on, Tang Shi said unhurriedly. However, I refuse to be your friend, and I don't need you to curry favor with me. Su Feifei stared at Tang Shi in astonishment for a long time, then raised her voice in disbelief. Tang Shi, how can you be so ungrateful? Tang Shi chuckled lightly. You're only just realizing that now. Su Feifei gritted her teeth. Don't get cocky too soon. Someone asked me to invite you here today. At that moment, a masculine presence drew near, embracing her from behind. A voice laced with a smile came from above her head. We meet again, Tang Shi, my cold and beautiful wife. Facing the rich heir's invitation, she decisively refused. Out the door and to the left, there's a royal garden. The girls inside are guaranteed to satisfy you. Tang Shi turned around and fell into a pair of blue-green eyes. Her heart trembled. She immediately struggled out of the man's embrace and pulled away. The mixed-race man sked. He said to Su Feifei, didn't you tell her who I am? Su Feifei rolled her eyes to the heavens. Bro, the moment you showed up, you were all over her. I haven't even had a proper chat with her yet. Bro. Su Feifei called him Bro. Tang Shi looked at the man before her in confusion. His face, though exquisitely handsome, was completely unfamiliar. Su Feifei said, "You don't have to be surprised. My brother has been living abroad. He's been out of the circle for 5 or 6 years, so it's normal that you don't know him." Suppressing her shock, Tang Shi said, "You mean your brother was the one looking for me today?" "That's right." Su Feifei tossed her hair. My brother has a design brand abroad. He's looking to launch a limited edition collaboration with you. Tang Shi's heart leaped with joy, but then she remembered there's no such thing as a free lunch. She immediately asked, "What are your conditions?" "There is one condition." The man smiled, his eyes narrowing, but there was no warmth in them, cold as ice. "Come work for our company. If you need, your studio can be registered under our company's name. We'll give you independent rights, but we'll also need to take a cut of the profits." It's equivalent to signing a contract. Tang Shi looked at the man in shock. "Why are you doing this? What's in it for you?" The man chuckled lightly. "First, your skill level is quite outstanding, so you can come work for me. I gain a top talent, so it's no loss. Second," he stepped forward, leaning close to Tang Shi's ear, "that you're Bo Ye's ex-wife, and you're very much my type. Stand with me, and I can help you piss Bo Ye off. Not a bad deal, right?" Tang Shi gave a cold smile. "Yes, it's a good deal no matter how you look at it. If you're amenable, let's go inside, sit down, and talk it over." The man looked at Su Feifei, who was standing to the side. "You could go now." Su Feifei jumped back. "If it weren't for Tang Shi, I wouldn't have bothered helping you." The man turned back, switching to his devilishly handsome mode in a second. He spoke elegantly to Tang Shi. "Oh, right. I should introduce myself. My name is Su Qi. I'm the eldest young master of the Su family. I did 5 years in prison. I wonder if you'll be afraid of me." Did 5 years in prison. For some reason, this statement suddenly seemed to move Tang Shi. Her slightly reddened eyes finally let down their guard against the man. She extended a hand. "My name is Tang Shi. Just like you." Tang Shi and Su Qi sat down in the convenience store. She smiled and said to Su Qi, "Su Feifei is gone. Just be direct." "Young Master Su, what exactly do you need me to do?" "Believe it or not, I came for your work." Su Qi was being mysterious. "All right, you don't believe me. I know. For now, I'll admit I'm interested in you. Because you're beautiful and have a great body." Tang Shi was stunned. "What do you mean by that?" Su Qi winked at her. "I grew up abroad, so my way of expressing myself might be more enthusiastic. But you know, foreigners' impulses tend to fade quickly. I want to develop a substantive relationship with you. If you want to leave afterward, I won't stop you. Of course, with your abilities, it would be even better if you stayed with our company." Tang Shi understood. She forced a smile. "Are you asking me for a hookup?" Su Qi snapped his fingers. "Finally, you get the term." "That's right. I'm asking you for a hookup." Tang Shi straightened up, looking at him with a cold gaze. "There are many people in this world who express their passion and impulses. But young Master Su, this is the first time I've seen someone so direct about a hookup." Su Qi's smile was ambiguous. "No one said this is wrong. In fact, the adult world doesn't need things like long-lasting, deep love. It's a burden. It drags both people down. I just want to consume pleasure." Tang Shi's smile slowly froze. After a long while, she said, "Drop by drop, perhaps you're right. Deep affection is nothing but self-inflicted suffering." Look what she got in return for her deep love for Bo Ye. Tang Shi gave a self-deprecating laugh and said to Su Qi, "But it's always like this. Young Master Su, I've had my fill of suffering from love. I don't want to let myself fall into depravity and desire. It's no different from being trapped in deep love. So I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you." Su Qi's lips curled into an intrigued smile. "Is this the latest way of playing hard to get?" Tang Shi said, "I have no intention of catching you." Su Qi said, "All right then. In my book, that's a direct rejection. Since Miss Tang has rejected me, there might not be another chance like this. But I'll give you the business deal anyway. Our Su family can afford this bit of charity." Tang Shi laughed mockingly. I need a kowtow, and thank you for it." Seeing her like this, Su Qi's smile vanished. He said coldly, "Miss Tang, you'd better not refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit." "What's the toast, and what's the forfeit?" "I don't believe you'd help me this way. I don't want anything you're giving me." Tang Shi sneered and stood up from the booth. "I'm unworthy of Mr. Su's great kindness. If you're looking for a hookup, out the door and to the left, there's a royal garden. The girls inside are guaranteed to satisfy you." Tang Shi's mockery pricked at Su Qi, making him irritable. What was with her tone? Did she think he was some dog in heat, ready to mate anytime, anywhere?